Hi, today I want to check out how a Marshall Studio Vintage 20-watt head reacts to 8 really cool and really classic gain pedals. There are 4 overdrives and 4 distortions. You can see them in the picture here. I'm going to play the pedals and the Studio Vintage through a 1971 Marshall 1960 A-cab 4x12 with the vintage greenbacks in it. I'm going to use a Gibson SG to do it, and you can see the recording setup here. I'm using a close mic, but also room mic, so you get good sense of the room. We're going to start off by comparing 2 of the overdrive pedals back to back, the Morning Glory and the Archer. The Morning Glory is initially based on the Bluesbreaker, Marshall Bluesbreaker pedal from the 90s, and the Archer is based on the Centaur clone. I'm running it on a completely clean amp. Let's go. I think it's impressive how much character these pedals have, and different characters when you dial overdrive up and down like we did here. Many usable sounds. Now let's also compare them to the other 2 overdrives in this video, which is the Tubescreamer and the Boss Overdrive 1, OD1. We're going to start off by having a short clip of the first 2 overdrives just as reference, and then look at the other 2 as well. Alright, as we could hear, the Boss and the Ibanez don't have that many different characters when you turn the overdrive up and down, like the first 2 pedals had. They're more transparent, not completely transparent. I mean, they both cut bass, and especially the Tubescreamer adds high mids. The Boss is probably the most transparent one. So now the next test here would be to see if we have the Marshall set up pretty gainy, all knobs including the volume knobs on 5, and then apply these pedals on top of it and push them as hard as we can to the point where the guitar starts to scream with feedback. All right, let's do that now and see how these 4 overdrives compare. right, I think all four sound just amazing. Again, the first two, the Archer and the Morning Glory, really adds character, and the Ibanez and Boss are transparent. But I thought the Boss really shined here. It added dynamics and more gain, and in a really transparent and a nice way. Now we're going to run these four pedals on a completely clean amp, and then we're going to compare that to what the amp sounds itself when you play it really loud, and push it so the distortion comes from the amp. Let's check it out. Right, it's really cool how close the Morning Glory comes here, or close. Maybe it's even better. I think it's cool because they have nailed the top end. It gives me the exact same vibe when it comes to the top end. It's just more intense. The Archer is great too. I mean just amazing pedal, that too. The other two, the Boss and the Ibanez, is of course needs to the amps that they are applied on, it needs to be pushed a bit harder for them to shine. Well, next section is to check out the distortion pedals. These four distortions. The first thing we're going to do is to apply it on a completely clean amp again. This time I'm not going to have all knobs on EQ knobs on 5. I'm going to dial back the mids all the way and see how close we can get to a more, thrash metal type of sound. Let's check it out. This was a whole lot better than I thought. Marshalls are not known for their competence when it comes to mid-scooped sounds. They usually need all the mids. Marshall needs all the mids it can get to provide sufficient gain. But since the pedals did that here, I think this sounded great actually. Cool and aggressive. Now we're going to have a quick run through of different settings of all the four distortion pedals. I'm going to use a more maybe alternative rock riff here, or maybe even punk riff, because that I think the distortion pedals really shines when it comes to that style. So I'm going to go through all four pedals. Some of the settings will be quite extreme, but it is in the contrasts that especially the DS1, it's really cool when you use contrasts. Let's check it out. as you could hear with the distortions, here the differences between these four are a lot bigger than what it was between the overdrives. Here you can really create contrasts that are just amazing, I think. I mean, it all comes from the pedal. Say the DS1 here, when you had the really dark sounds and the really bright sounds. It's a quite complex tone, and it all comes from the pedal. So I thought it was kind of cool. The DS1 you recognize from so many 80s and 90s tracks. I mean, it's many of the settings sound quite bad, but they're, bad in a cool way. I really like that, actually. Then the Rat, just amazing pedal. It's kind of borders on fuzz. It is by far the most aggressive, has the most attitude of this pedal. I can understand why that is the best selling distortion, as I've understood it, at least in some shops. Then we have the Marshall. That one is actually modded for me by Joe Simon, custom shop. He has modded it, so it's not a Mark II Guv'nor. It's a Mark I, actually. And that one, it's four EQ knobs. So you both the really bottom end and the bass, the mids and the highs, and that set that knob for the really bottom end just nails the feeling of a 4x12. Kind of cool. And then you had the Distortion Plus. It was a bit darker than the others. It sounded great, that one too, but a bit less dramatic and a bit less character than the others. All right. Now we're going to have a couple of more riffs to conclude here. We're going to play the overdrives again and compare to what the amp sounds. You have the amp driven. You compare that sound to the pedals applied on a clean amp and see how close it gets. So same thing we did in the beginning of the video. I just think you need more riffs to get a good view, good understanding of it, because the overdrives are pretty close, and one riff could give you the wrong idea. It depends on what riff you play, which pedal that's preferable, at least to me. So need many riffs or even many demos from many different YouTubers to learn which pedal that is the one for you.